Some voices don't just sing, they stir the souls. I have the honor today to introduce you, if you haven't already met her, to Miss Sydney Wayne Davis, who has been singing for over 5 decades. And she began when she was 19, so she's still kind of young. She has been in Broadway plays. She has been in movies such as Chocolate City and Chocolate City 2. She has sang background for Marvin Gaye, Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, and she currently still sings for Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis. She has written songs, she has written plays, and today she's going to just give us a small insight to her own story. Please welcome Miss Sydney Wayne Davis. Welcome to Emerging with Grace. I'm loving having you here, and I'm glad that you chose this podcast to listen to. Please like, subscribe, and share so that more people can get to know how to emerge with grace. Thank you. Okay, so tell us, let's start from the beginning, because if I remember correctly, you used to tell a story about when you were 6.
What was I doing at 6?
I can't remember, but it was either your uncle or maybe your dad that, I remember, that has nothing to do with singing. That was cigarettes. You were in the ashtray at 6.
Oh my goodness. You have to remind me. I don't think I remember that story. What was I doing?
You were trying to smoke a cigarette and they told you that was not cool. So I
Oh
remember
my
that.
goodness.
But
You know,
I know
my
you've been
dad
singing for
did used
quite a
to
while.
smoke, and so did my mom.
Okay.
I don't remember that story, but it sounds like something I was probably trying to do, doing what my parents were doing. But I learned like, don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
And as a singer, that's like the worst thing. I spent many years working in clubs before they changed the laws, and I would sing, and people would smoke a cigarette and blow it right in your face, and you're trying to hit a note, uh,
Oh my
gagging.
goodness.
So
Oh wow.
not good.
But where did you start singing?
I started singing at 3 years old in church. And when I was born in West Virginia, I grew up in Ohio, but I was born in West Virginia. And then my mom's church, and it was my mom, my aunts, and my uncles. They were all in the choir together. And it's kind of, I laugh at this now, but I was 3, and they had a big celebration. So it was like a big joint choir, the adults, the teenagers, and the children. And since I was 3, I was with the preschoolers. So, you know, the teenagers were kind of in charge of watching the teenagers. And so when we started singing this song, Praise ye the Lord, something like that, all the loudness of the adults' voices, I was so upset because I'm thinking, well, nobody can hear me. And I was kind of a little mad about that because I wanted to be heard. But then I got this idea. Then I wanted to do what all little kids want to do, is what they're not supposed to do. And so I'm looking around and I thought, all these little cuss words that I knew, I started singing cuss words.
Oh no.
And and then my mom was going, but I was doing it with all this passion, but I was getting away with it because nobody could hear me. So I was singing them all loud. And then my mom was looking at me like, oh, look at my baby. My aunts were looking at my baby. But then the teenagers around me could hear what this little girl was saying, and they were cracking up and they were laughing. And then I saw that I was entertaining them. So then I really got into it. And it was years later that I even remembered that. And I had a good laugh and I thought, oh my goodness. I said, I think I gave God a good laugh. But I think that was when my entertainment skills started coming as a child. And as a little girl, anytime I would sing something or do something that was funny, and if people got a reaction from it, then I wanted to increase on that. So, but I sang in church. I got over cussing in church because I really grew closer to God. And when we moved to Ohio, and my dad raised us in a little town called Kenton, which is about an hour and a half from Toledo.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a loving church community. And I had a lot of beautiful church mothers and fathers that helped me. And to this day, they're like my godmothers. But they gave me the opportunity, and I was very shy. We had a choir, and there were other people singing the solos, but I had a good ear for harmony. So I would sing. And I remember the choir director said, "Can anybody else sing a solo? We keep using the same people over and over again." And there one lady, my friend's mom, she said, "What about this little Davis girl? She's got a good ear, she can harmonize, she got a nice little voice. Give her a chance." And I was scared to death, but I had a solo on a song called "Somebody's Knocking at Your Door." I only had like 3 lines. "Knocks like Jesus." That was my line, and my knees were knocking, I was so scared, but it got me over that initial hump, and the encouragement of the people at church. So then I started singing and, like, doing trios with the choir director and her husband and blending my voice.
Hmm.
And then my first solo was "How Great Thou Art." And to this day, that song, "How Great Thou Art," just it speaks to my soul. "Then sings my soul, my Savior God to thee." So I got a lot of encouragement from church that built my confidence and helped me develop my skills. And then in high school, I was kind of like one of the little premier soloists and in the musicals and all of that. So yeah, started early.
Okay. Okay. You started early and then you decided to become a nun?
Oh, never a nun.
Okay.
Where'd you get that? No, a teacher.
Okay. Okay.
No, St. Anne's Hall was a Catholic school, but I was never trying to be a nun. Don't
Oh,
don't get that
fantastic.
twisted.
Okay.
No, I went to the University of Toledo. I majored in education, elementary education. And so after I graduated in December of 1979, and you had another teacher called Miss Davis, who was
Mhm.
your 6th grade teacher, but she was leaving town. So I got a call from a friend of mine who was teaching, I think, 5th grade at St. Angela's Hall. Or she knew they had called her about the job for the 6th grade class. That's what it was. And she said, "Sydney, I've got another job, but this teacher is leaving and I've recommended you." So then Sister Mary Jo called me and she interviewed me to be the new 6th grade teacher. And so I remember I went for a couple of days. I sat at the back of the class and everything and observed. And then I became your teacher. I remember I started, my dad remembers this date, February 4th, 1980 is when I became your
Okay.
teacher.
Yeah, it was a shock to all of us.
And then I remember one of the kids in the class, he says, "Well, we don't have to learn a new name because I was also Miss Davis and your other
Mhm.
teacher was Miss Davis." I think she
Mhm.
was getting married or something. So, it was exciting. It was exciting. It was my first day.
It was exciting for us, or at least some of the people I still talk to. Um,
Yeah.
it was exciting for us because we had representation and we never had that before. And to see a young woman who was educating us and like I would just sit there in awe sometimes, like, she's actually teaching us. Like
I was trying. I
we're,
was trying.
we're not just playing, you know. You're not just gonna give us a couple worksheets. She's teaching. So yeah. It was very exciting to us because having representation as a little girl is a big deal. And all we had were Sister Mary Jo, Sister St. Martin. God bless them all. They've already gone
Yeah.
on. But yeah, it was a big deal.
I had a lot of respect for Sister Mary Jo. You know, I didn't know that much about because I'm not Catholic, so I didn't know much about the Catholic Church. But because you remember she used to wear culottes and everything, she didn't really wear a
She was
habit.
she
So
was a
I
hippie.
was like, "You're a nun," but I loved her approach to and any kind time I had an issue with any one of you, I went straight to Sister Mary Jo, and she always had great wisdom, and she really mentored me in a lot of ways. I've never forgotten her, but, I love the care that they had, and when I saw that pretty much, like, was like 85% Black students,
Yeah.
and I was the only full-time Black teacher. I think you had a music teacher that came in, like, once a week, you know, who was African American, but it was an honor for me, and it was a struggle too because some of the other teachers because their friend had left, and they wasn't feeling me at all, so I didn't rea other than Sister Mary Jo, and I didn't really make any friends with the faculty there because
Mm. Mhm.
there was a lot of that, and I used to eat my lunch in the teacher's lounge, but when I would hear how some of these teachers, these white teachers, would speak about these beautiful Black children, I was angry, and I remember there was a little girl, she was like a 3rd grader, and she was a little heavy set, and I heard these teachers, her own teacher and these other teachers laughing and making fun of her and talking about how dark she was, and
Mhm.
I'm in the room. They just act like I wasn't there. They
Mhm.
talk about her dark skin, how dark she was, and they talked about how fat she was, and then one of them said, "Even her hair is fat." And when they said that,
Mhm.
I just stood up. I said, "Excuse me." I said, "Aren't you her teacher?" I said, "Why aren't you speaking well of this child?" And I said, "That's some of the most racist things I've heard." I said, "So you don't have to worry about me." I said, "You can, as I'm leaving out this door, you can talk about me like a dog behind my back because I'll be having my lunch in my room from now on." And that's what I did.
And that's
And
where
there
we
was a
found
real
you a couple
line in the
times.
sand with it was sad. So I felt like I have to be here. It was almost kind of like the way the door opened up for me. I felt like God sent me there because I didn't realize that that was going on until I'm sitting in the teacher's lounge and I hear it. I'm like, "Mm."
Mhm.
So, how are you teaching these children on a daily basis if you can't look at them and honor them?
Right.
So,
I actually didn't eat in a teacher's lounge when I was teaching either. I kinda thought it was very negative, but yeah. They're
really?
so smile and cheer, and then they get in teacher's lounge, and they're like, "Do you know about" Yeah. So,
Isn't that something that I hadn't even thought about that? That could be a whole nother conversation on
it
what happens
definitely
in a
could.
teacher's lounge. How do you present yourself? How you present yourself in the lounge should be the same way you present in the classroom.
Correct,
So
correct. So you came and you taught us, but you didn't stay long.
I didn't stay long because there was I taught you guys I did that 6th grade and then the 7th and it was a 7th and 8th grade split the following year.
Mhm,
But I will have to also turn that back on my beautiful students because remember I used to sing to you all the time.
mhm.
You even inspired song I even wrote a song about I wrote a song called "Listen" that I wrote for you because I was always going, "You need to listen. You need to listen." And of course, you know, Skylar Meadows, who I just love that girl. She was so strong. She stood up one day, always raised her hand. She said, "Miss Davis, I think you need to listen to us for a change."
Yeah, she
And
was
she
the
called me
youngest.
out. I was having probably a bad mood. I don't know. Maybe my boyfriend had left me. I don't know, but I took it out on you guys. And Skylar, she called me out. I said, "Oh my God." And then I thought about it. So I kind of changed my way. You guys helped me to grow. So I wrote a song called Listen, and I used to sing it to you. And then if I was writing a song, I'd say, "Hey, what do you think?" And you guys were great. "Oh yeah, Miss Davis, you're very encouraging." And then I remember at the end of that school year,
Mm.
when I was doing 7th and 8th, Bernard Dixon and some of the others, Victor Knighton, they were Kip and Tim McCord. They were like, "Miss Davis, what you doing here teaching us? Miss Davis, you should go to Hollywood." And they came up with a little chant, "Miss Davis sings so good, you should go to Hollywood." And they got me all pumped up. And I was like, "Yes, I'm going to do it. I'm going to go to Hollywood and pursue my dreams." And then after that school year, that summer, I ended up selling insurance.
Oh,
So
no.
I sold insurance for about a year. And then about a year later, Sister Mary Jo called me and she said, "Miss Davis, would you like to come back and teach 5th grade?" And I'm looking and I'm adding up, everything. And I'm like, and I was singing locally. I was singing with a band on weekends. But I said, "Yeah, I'll come back and teach 5th grade." But I had been praying for direction because I felt like I was kinda getting a little sidetracked.
Mhm.
And that very day, now this is how God is. That very day after I told her, "Yes, I'll teach 5th grade," and like I said, I was selling insurance. 15 minutes later, I'm hearing these little ping pong pong on my window. And I looked out. My apartment was on the 2nd level. And I look out and it's your classmates, Bernard Dixon, Tim McCorvey, and Kip Simmons. They're on their dirt bikes and they're looking up at me and they're saying, "Miss Davis, we were over at the playground and some dude said he was going to have you as his 5th grade teacher." And we told him, because Miss Davis, remember, you said you were going to Hollywood. So we want to know what's going on because we want to tell this dude. So, Miss Davis, we want to know what you going to do. And I felt like, I think of it now, it's call them angels on dirt bikes because they reminded me of what I said. And my dad always taught me, be a woman of your word.
Mm.
And I thought, I did say that. And then at my age at the time, I think I was 24, and I thought, if I don't do this now, when will I ever do it? You know? And so I took a deep swallow and I looked at them. I said, "Boys, you go back and tell that young man that unfortunately, no, he will not have Miss Davis as his 5th grade teacher because Miss Davis is going to Hollywood." They go, "Oh, okay." And they took off. So now I got to call Sister Mary Jo and tell her, "I know what I said 15 minutes ago, but I changed my mind." Then I called my dad and I said, "Dad, I have to do this. And I have to do this now." My godmother lived in California. I said, "I think that's where I want to go to start my career in music." And my dad was very encouraging. He said, "Baby, anything I can do to help you, do your research, figure out what you have to do, and I'll help you in a way I can." And so September 1st, that year, that was 1982, I moved out here to California. I stayed with my godmother for a few months, got a little job, got a little place, and within 6 months, like, the heavens opened, and I was singing background for Marvin Gaye.
Mm.
And that in and of itself is such a wild story that I'm writing a play
Oh,
about
wow.
my life called The Star Behind the Stars because I'm like, it just it was a testament to trust God's timing. And if I had not been encouraged by you all and your classmates,
Mhm.
who knows? I might have still been, teaching 5th grade.
Let me tell you, we weren't trying to share you. And if I remember correctly, 5th grade would have had Bernard's little brother in it. So, yeah, he
Yes.
was not going to go for that.
Oh, maybe that might have been a motivation, like,
Oh, yeah.
because I remember them saying, "'Cause you the only we the only class you teaching, 'cause you go to Holly
Right,
back, like, that's it.
right. Yeah.
It ends here."
And actually, a lot of us left in 8th grade, so we did
Okay.
not finish graduating there, but several of us.
You went to other schools?
Yes.
Where
Yes.
did you go?
I actually went to Connecticut, and I was in 8th grade in Connecticut. I think Janine went to, it's no longer existing now, but
But
the
Janine became a
Velvets,
teacher
DeVoe.
as well, didn't she?
Yes, she just retired. She just retired in May. She said
I
she
was
can't do
so
it anymore.
proud of her.
So 34 years, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
God bless her.
Yes, that's what I say too. We need that, but
Yeah. And I was in Toledo briefly, um, over the summer and well, no, actually a couple months ago, but I saw Victor Knighton,
he's
and I
got
was
a
so
band.
proud of him. I didn't even
Yes.
know when I was his teacher that he was that interested in music, and now I'm finding that he's like a premier band leader and musician in Toledo, and I'm like,
Yes, we had a school reunion September, it's like 2 years ago, and
I think
Victor
Bernard
invited.
called me
Yeah,
and a little, and I FaceTimed him for a bit. Yeah,
Victor, yes, that's right, we did see you because you were a big
yeah.
part of our lives. So, and we would always brag to the 8th graders, like, you know, "Y'all
We had
wish."
it first.
Right. So, Victor Knighton invited everybody to he played that night. It was a very big band. It was beautiful.
I'm so proud of him.
Yeah.
I and he called me one day. I think he found me on Facebook, and he called me, and he told me that I had inspired him to pursue his music. And I was like, I didn't even know he was interested in music then. I mean, I knew Bernard was because,
Mhm.
Bernard, his
He's
personality,
always producing something. Mhm.
that charisma, but it was like I was literally in tears when he was telling me about his journey, and so I was so happy to reconnect with him.
Yeah, yeah. Now, I will tell you, my mother was keeping track. My mother, I will tell you, she kept track.
I love your
She
mother.
said Marvin Gaye, but her biggest thing, Marilyn Davis and Billy.
Oh, Marilyn
Marilyn
McCoo
McCoo
and
and
Billy
Billy
Davis
Davis.
Jr.
Yeah, oh
Yes.
my gosh, she said,
I still work with
"You know
them.
she still sings with
They
them?"
Yes, I do. They are I've been with them longer than anyone. I've been with them for, 27 years now.
Mm,
And it's interesting how that came up because I had already done a lot of work. I worked with Marvin, Ray Charles. I recorded for Donna Summer and different people. I'd written a song for Diana Ross. So I was in the nook. And somebody called me that now Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis, they actually left the Fifth Dimension after 10 years in 1975 and did their own as a duo.
mhm.
But the other members of Fifth Dimension were still touring. The three original members, Florence LaRue, Lamont McLemore, Ron Townsend, and there were two other singers that filled in. So Florence LaRue had actually taken over all the solos that Marilyn used to sing. And Florence is also an actress, so she was going to do a play and she needed somebody to replace her. So a friend of mine called me and recommended me, and I auditioned, and Florence was like, yes. So I actually worked as a member of the Fifth Dimension for about 3 months while she was doing this play in Canada. And it was a wonderful experience. And I think it was the first time because I've done a lot of background singing, so I'm kind of surrounded and being in the midst of these big stars, but in the
Mhm.
background. But when I did that gig, it was like people were coming up to me going, "Oh my God, here." They wanted my autograph, and I'm looking at them like, "Who do they think I am?" But I went ahead. So I kind of liked a little bit of like that sip of stardom, I called it. It was wonderful. And then when Florence LaRue came back, the gig was over. And I thought, well, that was a wonderful experience. And then the Fifth Dimension and Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr. had the same management because the management was also doing shows of the whole all five original group. They were doing special events.
Mhm.
So when Marilyn and Billy decided they wanted to get back and start doing shows again, I didn't have to audition. I just got a call from the music director and said, "I'm the music director with Marilyn McCoo and Billy Davis Jr., and the manager told me to call you because we're putting a show together, and are you available?" I was like, "Yes." And I remember the first day at rehearsal, it was like I had to really keep my cool because I'm like your mom. I was such a big fan of both of theirs, and I was
Mm.
like, "Oh my God, Marilyn McCoo." And I'm trying to be cool about it, but I wanted to just jump up and shout. But both her and Billy, they were so supportive. They really liked my sound. And we were doing a big show called It Takes Two. So we were doing Vegas and we were doing all these things. And then after about a year, I think, of working with them, we had a rehearsal and Billy shared with us, the other backup singers. There were four of us, two women and two men.
Mhm.
And he said that God had put on his heart to start a ministry called Soldiers for the Second Coming. And he said it was like a gospel ensemble, and he invited us to be a part of it. And he had a church lined up. He said, "We'll do it once a month, and we'll just do praise songs and invite people to do testimonies."
Mm.
And I was like, "Yes." And so I've been a part of now some of the other singers left and we've gotten different singers, but I'm still a part of his ministry. So I still sing with them professionally. And I also sing with their ministry. And it's just been, they are two of the most beautiful people I've ever met on earth. And I've learned a lot on how to carry myself because
Mhm.
I am a Christian woman, but yes, I still sing in the marketplace. So I do all types of music, from jazz, R&B, pop, but still carry myself graciously as a Christian woman. And of course, I still sing in churches, but it's been a beautiful dance, I'll call it, to work with them in both capacities. And they're so supportive of me in everything I do. If I'm singing at some club, I'll look up and they'll come out and support me.
Oh,
You know,
beautiful.
I remember one of the songs I sing in my own show, I do One Less Bell to Answer. And so I thought I called the song, and Marilyn and Billy are sitting on the front row. So I was almost a little nervous, like, should I be singing this in front of her? But it was on my list. It was song list. So I started singing it. Then as I'm singing, I'm thinking, am I here in the background? I looked, Marilyn and Billy were singing the background.
Oh,
Ah,
wow.
Then I and then Marilyn said, "Oh, Sydney, you sounded wonderful." She said, I never get the chance to sing the background on that song." I'm like, "I know, 'cause that's my job." But that's how beautiful they are, like, they're just so supportive. They're kind of like my musical parents.
Oh, that's beautiful. Aren't you, what, about 10 years younger than her?
Probably. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Mhm.
Just checking. I had
Probably
to.
about that. They're probably yeah, kinda we're like 10-year gap. I think I'm 10-year older than you all, and they're
Yes.
10 years older than me, so
Yeah.
we're all a decade apart,
Right.
but we're still here.
Still here. Still here. So let me get into this. A couple of us, want to say Janine and I think we watched Chocolate City with Miss Beatrice. Is it Miss Beatrice?
Sister
And
Beatrice.
I said, wait a minute. I know her. And I called Janine, and Janine was like, are you kidding? So we all had to watch it. So I just want
That
you to
was a
know.
fun film.
You have been singing, you said, for 50 years now, 5 decades.
Well, yeah, I mean, professionally, next year will be my 50th anniversary because I started singing professionally at 19.
Okay.
You know, I call professional is when they pay you.
Right, right.
So I got my first paid gig at age 19, even before I started teaching. But so, yeah, 50 years.
Okay. All right. So how does that feel? How are you going to celebrate? What are you going to do?
I have a lot of things are going on in my mind how I want to celebrate 2026. Because I also, still work as a a vocal instructor and performance coach and mentor. So I want to do some things with some of my students that I've been coaching and mentoring. So I want to do. I've got some ideas for that, but mainly I wrote a play about my life called The Star Behind the Stars. So that title, I've already written the song, which is in the play, and I did a short version of the play earlier this year. So I am in the process of writing the full play. The short version, it was like a 30-minute because I was in a playwrights festival with other African American women who are playwrights. And so I'm looking in 2026 to produce the fuller version of it. I'm producing it and directing it and starring in it. Look at me. But I have a wonderful cast. I have a wonderful young actress who plays the young version of Sydney. And I'm like, I love her. I was like, sometimes I look at her and I really see myself. Her name is Ashley Olivia. And another wonderful actress called Tiffany Cody, who plays my older sister, Cynthia, who managed me. And my sister passed away. Unfortunately, in 2011, and this play is turning into a real tribute to her. But I kind of look at my life. I got somebody who plays Marvin Gaye and some people that play multiple characters. So I really want to get the play up and out in 2026. And part of the play ends with Sidney Wayne Davis in concert. So I have two versions of The Star Behind the Stars, the play,
Mm-hmm.
which is slash musical, and then also a musical concert where I will sing my versions of these iconic songs from the artists I've worked with, like Marvin and Ray Charles and Fifth Dimension and all of that, but also mixed in with my original music, like the song that I wrote that Diana Ross recorded. It's called You're Gonna Love It. I'm gonna do my own version of You're Gonna Love It along with other songs that I've been writing. So I want to just because and this is in the play, but when I was 16, I remember I came home from school and this my sisters had already one's in college, one's in the Navy. So it was me and my dad and my grandma for a while. And I came home and my dad, he kept saying, "Go back to your room, put your things away." And I'm like, "No, I'm hungry. You're making spaghetti. I want to eat." "No, go back to your room." "Oh, okay." And I go there and he had this surprise for me. On my bedroom door, he had put this decal of a star on my door. And I looked and I saw it and went, and it took my breath away. And only my dad knew what that would mean to me because it's something you
Mm-hmm.
dream about as a kid. And I was looking at it and I was crying. And my dad came up and he put his arm around my shoulder and we just stared at it. He said, "Yeah, I put that up there because my baby girl is a star." And we just looked at it. And to this day, those words have carried me
Mm.
because this business is hard. And there's a lot of people that will say things and throw something at you because maybe they're envious. And I would always go back to that. I don't care what anybody says. My dad, my father said, my baby girl's a star. So it would help me pull up, And then my mom, she was more deeply spiritual. My mom was like her advice was, "You can't listen to other people."
Mm.
She said, "Sydney Wayne," she said, "develop your relationship with the Holy Spirit and let God be your guide." She said, "Don't listen to other people, what they tell you to do." So those two things were my foundation, and continuing on because for anybody that pursues the arts as their career, whew, it's a tough road. You have to have a community of people that have your back, that believe in you, because you're always going to have to keep fortifying your own faith
Mm.
in your gift. Because people will say things that will like try to diminish you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've dealt with that. So part of what I want to give back after 50 years is to younger artists that I see that are going through the same struggles that I went through. And then also with more mature artists that have thrown in the towel. because I'm thinking like this, I ain't dead, so I ain't done,
Right.
you know. And no, I don't retire, I refire. So it's always
Mm.
about relighting that flame. And I know a lot of singers that are wonderful, but they feel like, oh, well, I didn't do it when I was 20 or 30, so I'm done. Like, nah, if there's a gift in you, dust it off and put it out there. So that's part of what I really want to do in celebrating 50 years is to show that you can still shine no matter what the age is, because ageism is another thing in
Mm.
this business, especially for women. So, I want to be a champion for other people to just keep going, you know?
Mhm. Mhm. I will tell you, I'm not into music. I'm into hearing music, but I'm tone deaf like my father. But you designed that whole play, The Wiz, for us to be in, and you made me miss one, and you made me sing that song, and I hated that song, but I can't get the words out of my head. Like, I sing that song every time I get out the bed and I'm not having a good day. You know how you wake up? And she
Yeah.
said, "I wake up already feeling bad." I get that singing in my song, and I sing it in the shower, and I go ahead and I put a smile on my face, and I go about my day. I will tell
No,
you,
what grade were you? Was that in sixth or
that was in
were you in
6th
seventh
grade.
grade?
That was in
That
6th
was in
grade.
sixth.
Yeah. And I will never forget. I know Bernard was big on everybody being in their place, but you told me, I said, "I can't sing. My voice is too deep." And you said, "That means you're an alto. Work with it." And I have never forgotten that. I've sang in my choir. I have a choir voice. I don't have a solo voice, but I sang in my choir for years because I believed that as an alto, I could sing. So, thank you.
Oh, Marquita, thank you for reminding me. I like how you're waking up my memory. Like, yeah, we did.
So, you voice coach and you mentor. What would you tell an artist today about navigating some of the negativities?
Mm. Well, the first thing is do the work. Work on your craft. Like, be good at what you do. If you're a singer, tune up that ear so that when you do sing, you're singing in tune. Because I think one of the worst things is to be feeling the song and blare it out and belt it and it's out of tune. Don't put
Mhm.
people through that kind of pain. If you're gonna sing it in tune. And be your own audience. Like all this technology, very easy to record yourself and listen back to it. So
Mhm.
do the work on your craft and spend the money to hire a professional to guide you to make sure that you're on point with your performance skills before you present. I think that too many younger artists, I just see they just want to throw something out on YouTube and try to get likes, but be good at what you do.
Mhm.
And then work with do open mics, get around other people who share your passions. Like I have another student, she's a wonderful singer, and she's not doing a lot of work, but she gets out there and she does a lot of these open mics, and she does have a community of like-minded people, and I think
Mhm.
that's very important. Hopefully, it is your family, but not every artist has that.
Right.
I was blessed to have a family that really saw my talent and supported it, but there's not a lot of people that have that. Some people are like, "What? Will you shut that record up and get a job?" That kind of thing.
Mhm.
So you have to know that if this is your gift and you really want to do it, you may have to navigate. You might say, "Mom, I love you, but I'm going for this," or "Dad, I love you, but I'm still going for this." But you will need some kind of a community of like-minded people. So, if you're also maybe a songwriter, get in a class, take something any way that you can perpetuate a community that's going to feed you while you're on this journey. And be original. You know, trust your instincts about your gift. If you write songs, or if there's a show, or you want to put the songs together, yeah, it's good if you have somebody that can kind of help you put it together, that might have a professional ear. But develop and trust your own instincts, and see how it works, because I feel like even as a singer that maybe doesn't have the most pristine voice,
Hmm.
if you can communicate authentically and honestly, if there's a song that you believe in and you want to share it, then 9 times out of 10, somebody else out there is gonna feel it too.
Mm.
Not everybody, so you're not going for everybody, but if you put it out there, make sure it's almost like, think like cooking. If you're a chef, if you or just I learned from my mama, you know a good recipe. I've cooked this. You're always tasting it before you share it.
Mm.
So share your gift like a good meal. Like, honey, I know it's good. Maybe you don't like spicy, but I do. That's why I made it spicy.
Mm.
And some people will dig it and some people won't. And so don't be bothered by the people that don't. Share it with the people that's the nourishment that they need, and trust it.
I love that confidence. How can people find you?
You can find me on Facebook. I'm as Sydney Davis. That's Sydney with a C, Cydney Davis. Instagram, Sydney Wayne Davis. YouTube. You can find me a lot on YouTube, either as Sydney Davis or Sydney Wayne Davis. I will be putting up a new YouTube with more of my performance under Sydney Wayne Davis. So that would be the best way, because that name is what I've been using for the last decade or so, and a couple decades. So
Okay.
I started using Sydney Wayne because I lost my niece so tragically many years ago, and she always called me Aunt Wayne, which is part of my middle name. And so, to honor her, I started going with Sydney Wayne Davis. So it's an honor to my early beginnings.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for blessing us and letting us hear part of your story. When might the play be out?
I'm hoping probably by the summer of 2026 is what I'm going for.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much.
I'll keep you posted.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right.
All right, sweetheart. I love you, Marquita, and I
Love
am
you
so
too.
proud of you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Hey, this is Kip, live from Akron, wishing my favorite teacher and vocalist a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And congratulations are in order. 50 years of following your dreams. You've been blessed. Though we only had a short time together, you had a profound effect on each of us. We think of you often and those times we had in your classroom. God bless and all the best for the new year. Take care.
Miss Davis, congratulations on 50 years in music. I am so proud of you. Of course, when I knew you, you were just starting off in music. Congratulations again to 50 years in music from your former 6th grade student, Janine Loper Nutter.
Greetings, Miss Davis. It's Skylar, one of your 6th grade students from back in the day. Congratulations on 50 years in the music industry. You know, this industry is not for the faint of heart, but it is for those who want to pursue their passion of sharing their gifting with the world. And you certainly have done that. Many accolades and a great career. And I'm sure there's so much more that you want to continue to do. So again, congratulations, continued blessings, and go, Miss Davis, go.
I very seldom recommend products unless I like them, I use them, and I agree with them. So when I tell you that this lint-free, no tree, 100% bamboo, biodegradable tissue is strong, 3-ply, and beautiful, I'm trying to tell you, Leafy is it. I will leave my coupon code In the bottom of the description is Doc G 25.